Hello everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Racing. This week we have a lot of news to cover, including SRO America winners from Sonoma, wrapping up the Indy 500 Oval Open Test, some IndyCar silly season news regarding Alexander Rossi possibly moving to McLaren, IMSA's return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and this week's winners in ADAC GT Masters, NASCAR, the 12 Hours of Spa, and the Nürburgring Endurance Series. But before we begin, hit the subscribe button down below to stay tuned for news updates, diecast reviews, racing clips, and much more. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting with the Indy 500 Open Test, there were some surprising names reaching the top 5 on the leaderboard in day 1. Leading the day was the number 9 PNC Bank Honda of Scott Dixon. Second place was the number 20 Ed Carpenter Racing Chevy driven by Connor Daly. A surprising third for the number 77 Juncos Hollinger Racing car of Callum Ilott. Santino Ferrucci's Dreyer and Reinbold Chevy ended the day in 4th, and rounding out the top 5 was the number 8 Husky Chocolate car of Marcus Ericsson. The opening day of the test was marred by multiple spins, the worst of which being the number 06 Meyershank Racing car driven by four-time and defending Indy 500 winner Helio Castroneves, smacking the wall, exiting the pits. These incidents seemed to be caused by a slippery pit exit. In another incident in a later session, Will Power spun, exiting the pits in turn 1. He spun out onto the grass and clipped Colton Herta, who spun into the wall and back into the path of Marcus Ericsson, who just barely missed him. At this point, there was only about an hour left in the day. The session was halted and never restarted about 15 minutes after this incident. The cause of these incidents seemed to be new sealant that was put on the pit exit over the off-season that had never been properly run on. A special session took place later to add more rubber to the pit exit. But looking at the replay, you see Power has already lost the car in the grass, has clipped Colton Herta, Herta spins, back end hits the wall, front end hits the wall, spins back into the path of Marcus Ericsson. Joseph Newgarden topped the times on day 2 in his number 2 Penske Chevrolet. Taking second on the day was the number 51 Rick Ware Racing Honda of Takuma Sato. The number 1 Chip Ganassi Racing entry of Tony Kanaan took third position. Scott Dixon placed 4th, and Scott McLaughlin rounded out the top 5 on day 2. The only major incident of the day was Devlin DeFrancesco bumping the wall, exiting turn number 2 in his number 29 Andretti Autosport Power Tap Hydrogen Honda. Next up is IMSA's return to Canada. IMSA has announced that the July 1st through 3rd Canadian Tire Motorsport Park event will go ahead despite COVID travel restrictions on the US-Canada border. Fans are excited to have the race return after a 2-year hiatus since the last running of the race in 2019. In 2020, it is hard to tell what the race was replaced by, as many races were canceled and new races were set up. But in 2021, the CTMP race was replaced by a 2-hour and 40-minute event at Watkins Glen the week following the 6-hour race. Last time IMSA visited CTMP, Colin Brown took the pole in the Core Autosport Nissan DPI, and the overall win went to Oliver Jarvis and Tristan Nunez in the number 77 Mazda. Nunez will try to defend his overall win in the number 31 Action Express Cadillac. A packed weekend at Sonoma has concluded for SRO America, with K-Pax Racing sweeping the weekend in GT World Challenge America, and in GT America, Jason Daskalos and Jason Harward took the wins in races 1 and 2, respectively. In GT4 America, RS1 swept the weekend in their number 18 Porsche Cayman GT4. Time for an IndyCar silly season update regarding McLaren. There has been a rumor that Alexander Rossi will be switching from the number 27 Andretti Autosport car to Aero McLaren SP next year, possibly for the team's 3rd full-time entry. This change has not been confirmed by either side by Michael Andretti nor Zach Brown. While we're almost certain that McLaren's young phenom Pato O'Ward will be signed for another season, we are not sure about who will drive the number 7 currently occupied by Felix Rosenqvist. If Rossi makes the switch to McLaren, will he drive the number 7 or will he drive the 3rd entry? There are still many blanks, but we will try to keep you informed on the latest news. Now let's take a look at this week's winners throughout the world. Land Motorsport took the win in ADAC GT Masters Race 1. In Race 2, the Drago Racing Mercedes took the overall victory. In the NASCAR Cup race at Talladega, Ross Chastain took his first Cup win. Noah Gragson took the victory in the NASCAR Xfinity race at Talladega. Phoenix Racing prevailed in the Creventic 12 Hours of Spa. And in NLS 3, it was a BMW M4 GT3 sweep of the podium. And TalkSport WRT won the very first Prototype Cup Germany doubleheader. Now, what's on TV this weekend? IMSA and its associate series are at Laguna Seca. The GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup opener at Brands Hatch is up this weekend. IndyCar is visiting Barber Motorsports Park for the Grand Prix of Alabama. NASCAR and its associate series are in Dover. And MotoGP is visiting Jerez for the Spanish Grand Prix. Well, that's This Week in Racing. Please, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the red subscribe button down below, like the video, and share the video with your friends. Let's try and get to 40 subscribers by the end of the month of May, as I will have a lot of new content coming out, including diecast reviews and Indy 500 coverage. So if you want to stay tuned for that, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.